Hi, it's Lindsay. Thanks for joining me for today's practice. So, today I primarily want to focus on ways we can work on strengthening our legs to help support our mobility, our balance, and our ease for getting through life in the day to day. And what I also love for strengthening the legs is it can help support our upper body. So, if we're experiencing a lot of tension and tightness, kind of through our rib cage, our back, our shoulders, that could be because we don't have the strength or stability through our pelvis or through our legs. So we tend to grip and hold on up top. So when we focus on the lower body, that can bring more ease and effortless to our upper body, um, which can help with things like headache, stress, strain, general mobility, and ease. So with that said, let's explore, and you can see for yourself what your outcomes are, and we'll go from there. So what I would like to do is have us come up to standing into a Tadasana. So let's come on up. I'm gonna have to back up a little bit here. So Tadasana is our mountain pose or just standing. I like to keep my feet about hip distance apart, but be where you feel comfortable. And then start to feel into the parts of your feet in contact with the floor. Specifically sense the center of your heels, the base of your big toe, so your big toe mound, or the ball of your foot, and the base of the baby toe. Let your arms hang and just look straight ahead. And then just notice how your legs support the weight of your upper body or doesn't support the weight of your upper body. Notice where there might be areas or lines of strain or tension, or a sense of openness or spaciousness. Do you feel the weight mostly in the heels, front of the foot, the inside of the feet, or the outside of the feet? Are both sides different? Or are they the same? There's no right or wrong, we're just simply noticing whatever is. You might notice that your body sways forward and back or side to side. So it just makes little adjustments to keep us upright. And then for a moment, bring your hands to the side of your thighs, just wherever they land. And then press your legs into your hands, and you might sense a different feeling in your feet. If you're not sure, just let that release. If you're like me and you have a tendency to pronate, so the inside edges of your feet kind of press down a little bit more, as you press the legs into your hands, you might feel a little bit more evenness through your feet. They might feel differently connected. You might feel more strength through your legs, so more presence, more awareness of the legs and feet in general. And all we're doing is just changing how our leg bones articulate in our hip sockets when we press the legs into our hands. And you can try that a couple times just to get a sense of what you're experiencing. You can hold it if it feels good, but notice if you have a tendency to tighten up through the chest or grip through the arms when you do that. You keep the upper body relaxed, breathing with ease. And then you might just like to hold this. We can also, from here, I'm just going to turn sideways so you can see. We can get a little bit more into our legs by exploring a gentle chair sit. So we want to move through our hip, from our hip, so this hinging motion, through our knees and our ankles at an even pace, at an even rate. So we don't want the hips to go back and then the knees, or we don't want the knees to bend and then the hips go back. We want them to go together. And so sometimes practicing this in front of a mirror can be helpful. And so if you feel that one's going and not the other, then you just come back up and reset. Maybe go a little bit smaller. So we don't want the ribs to push forward or the back to arch. So if this is kind of happening, then you know you've kind of gone too far. So let's just see if we can keep it in the legs without having the upper body or the arms have to do anything. And then once you kind of find a comfortable place that you can move into, you can hold it. If the knees have a tendency to drop in or drop out, again, that just means you've gone a little bit too far. So we're just training our body how to move well. You can hold it. You can bring your hands to your heart if you want. And depending on what you're experiencing and where you are, you could always bring a twist. And then, so if you're going to move the upper body, if you're going to add a twist, if you're going to rotate the ribs, the hips and the legs ought not move. So just keep it gentle. This will make it a little bit more challenging for the legs. They might start to shake. And know that you can come up, you can come out of this movement anytime. And then stand in your mountain pose or your Tadasana, feeling into the 3 points of the feet, and notice what you feel. So that's one way we can work on strengthening the legs and providing support for the upper body. Move this out of the way. Another great leg strengthening exercise is to use a wall, to do a gentle wall sit. So I like to start by leaning against the wall, the head can rest. Then you're going to take your feet maybe a foot and a half away from the wall, depending on how long your legs are. You're going to slide down a little bit. So knees stay in line with the toes. And so this isn't a deep wall sit, right? The idea is that you only go as far as you could hold yourself there for maybe 20 minutes. Let the arms relax, looking straight ahead, feeling into the center of the heels, the base of the big toe, base of the baby toe. So kind of that tripod of the feet. And then feel the support of the legs holding you up. There might be kind of a natural or a gentle engagement of the belly without having to draw the belly button in, right? Our abdomen will just respond. So this can be good for core and balance. Breathing with ease. You can hold this for as long as you'd like. If you need to slide up and give yourself a break, you can. But after a minute or two, you can slide yourself up, take the feet back, and then come back to standing, feeling into the 3 points of the feet, and notice what you feel. I always find that after I do a wall sit, I always feel really tall and really long, stable, grounded. So notice for yourself what you're experiencing. And if you're not sure, that's okay too. From here, we're going to come back down onto the floor. And you might like to have a pillow or a block or something to support your head. And we're going to start with the knees bent, coming down onto the hip, and try to keep your spine nice and long so that you don't come forward or stick your head forward. So we're going to come down, let the arm come onto the floor, and let the pillow fill the gap between the floor and your head. And then we're just going to settle in here. Now you might find that you need to bring a folded blanket underneath your hip if the ground is really hard, or a folded blanket between the legs. Sometimes that can feel nice. And we're just going to settle, noticing the sensations in your body, or lack of sensations. And then what we're going to do is we're going to explore lifting the top leg up and then bringing it back down. So we want to awaken kind of the muscles in the back of your bum here. So sometimes kind of poking into that area can bring a little bit more awareness. And then we're going to lift the thigh, lifting from this, like the outer hip area. And what we don't want to do is lift, have the lower leg initiate the movement and lift from your foot. So if that's happening, just come back down and let that foot kind of be limp, let it be relaxed, and let the lift come from the upper leg as opposed to the lower leg or the foot. And then we can hold the leg parallel to the floor. And you might start to feel some effort now in your glutes. If you've tensed up through your neck or your shoulders, bring the leg back down and just wait till that subsides. And then try it again, maybe not going quite as far or for quite as long. If the upper body's good and you want to go a little bit, you can always stay here. If you want to go a little bit further, keeping the leg parallel, you can start to bring your knee towards your chest without the leg dropping down. And you can hold. You can always apply a little resistance with your top hand. And if you want a little bit more, you can start to extend the lower leg. Now, if I had a wall in front of me, I might press my foot into the wall and press my heel away. And then when it feels like you can't really hold it any longer, I'm going to bring the leg back, bring the thigh down, and release. I felt that a lot in my hip. Good. And then we can flip around and we can do the same thing on the other side. So in terms of how long is going to be different for each person. Just taking a moment to settle. You might need a little bit higher or lower support for your head on this side. Notice if you need a blanket or anything under your hip. And then when you're ready, waking up those glute muscles. Sometimes using like a tennis ball or something and rolling out your hips against the wall or on the floor can be a good way to kind of wake up some muscles that are maybe underused. And then lifting the thigh. Notice if the foot's initiating the movement or if the knee's initiating the movement. If it is, just come back down and see if you can lift from the thigh. And then hold. Check in with your neck and your shoulders. Make sure you're breathing. You can always apply a little bit of resistance with your hand. And then if you want more, bringing the knee towards the chest. It doesn't have to be a big movement. Just be in a place where you can breathe with ease, no extraneous tension. You feel it in your hip, maybe in your leg, maybe starting to extend the leg a little bit, pressing out through the heel. And be in a place where you can breathe with ease. My teacher calls this holy crap. If you're doing it properly, you'll know why. And then when you've had enough, slowly coming out the same way you came in. And then if you'd like, you can repeat each side again. You could probably repeat a couple times on each side. And then come up to standing. And notice how you feel in standing. Finding the 3 points of the feet. So for myself, after having done that, I feel a lot more balance through my feet. I'm not kind of falling into the inside arches. I'm much more on the outside, or a sense of balance. And it just feels like my legs are lifting me up. I feel tall and strong. So notice how you feel. It might be something similar, it might be something completely different. And that's perfect too. My shoulders and my neck actually feel a lot more relaxed, a lot less tense than when I came into this video. So that's awesome. That feels really nice. Yeah. And then from here, I mean, that might be enough. You might be like, all right, I'm good to go for the rest of the day. If you want to explore a little bit more, we can always take this, you can take this into any movement with the legs. Like, I'll just give you a few suggestions. We don't necessarily have to go through all of them now, but we can explore some warrior poses, bringing the legs a little bit wider apart, and then rotating the thigh out. So if you haven't done this movement with me before, find one of my videos that goes through the warrior movements on how to rotate the leg without, moving the pelvis. We're going to rotate one leg out and then bend the knee. And then you can press your leg into your hand. You might go a little bit wider. Feeling the connection between your feet and the ground. Feeling the strength and support of the legs. And then the upper body. Let it be relaxed and light. Your arms can hang. Or if you want to come into a warrior two, you can extend the arms out from the shoulders. Notice your breath, breathing with ease. Feel the effort in your legs. You could always, explore some side bending with the warrior two legs, so the legs don't move, but you can see what it feels like to move the torso, bending the spine side to side. The arms can stay relaxed, or you could bring the arms into it. Again, this is going to be individual preference depending on what you're experiencing through your arms and your shoulders. And then we can come back. We could also take the pelvis, so keeping the legs as they are, take the pelvis into a tilt towards the bent knee leg, and then bring the same side hand to the inside of the thigh, and then maybe bringing the other hand out from the shoulder or up overhead, kind of into an extended side angle pose. So this is requiring a little bit more effort in this front leg. Still breathing with ease, so if you're holding your breath, consider that maybe you've done a little bit too much. And then to come out, we're going to bring the pelvis back to neutral. And then from here, we're going to keep the knee that's bent as our fixed leg. So this leg and foot's not going to move. But we're going to bring our hands onto our pelvis. And we're going to lift onto the ball of the back foot. And we're going to rotate the pelvis so that the back heel's coming up into the air. And we're coming towards a high lunge. And then you're going to rotate the pelvis back and bringing the heel down. So the idea is that the pelvis is rotating around the head of the leg bone of our fixed leg. So this particular movement, that is the intention. So I'm going all the way. You might find that you just go a little bit, depending, like if you feel kind of really stuck and tight through your hips, it might just be a tiny movement, especially if this leg is kind of doing a lot of stuff that it shouldn't be doing. So just move in a range where this leg can stay still. Yeah. And then to come out, we'll straighten the leg and rotate it back. And then we can try the same thing on the other side. So the opposite leg will rotate out and bend the knee. Press the thigh into the hand. And then if you want, you can open up the arms. Feel the connection between your feet and the ground. Settling from your hips down your legs, into the feet. Soft, gentle breath. Can you feel the movement of your breath in your belly and your ribs? You can explore side bending a little bit. Movements don't have to be big to be effective. So notice where you feel sensations of stretch or tightness. Notice that the legs aren't moving, it's just moving through the spine right now. One side lengthening while the other side's cinching. And then what do we do? We do this side angle. So the pelvis now is going to tilt towards that bent leg. Back of the hand to the inside of the thigh, so just a little bit of resistance there. And the other arm can come out from the shoulder or overhead. And we'll hold here for a few breaths as you feel comfortable. So even as we do more challenging poses or challenging movements, we want to still maintain the same level of ease that we would in a more foundational or simpler movement. And that's why this practice is progressive. Progressive in the sense that movement might get more challenging, but we still have the same level of ease. And then to come out, release the arm down, bring the pelvis back to neutral. And then we can explore rotating the pelvis on that leg bone, pivoting on the back heel. So this side might feel different. You might have more or less range. Move in a way that feels good, that doesn't hurt, and where this leg can support you. Okay. Try it a few times. You can always hold in the lunge if that feels good for the back leg. And then straighten the leg, rotate it back. And step the feet back together. Let's come to our mountain pose. This has kind of been our baseline. Notice how you feel here. Has anything shifted or changed? Woo! I just felt a whole kind of energetic lift. That's pretty cool. Yeah, and my shoulders feel even more relaxed. All right. So I think that's good for today. That gives you a lot of things to explore and work with. It's, of course, not an exhaustive list. You might find certain things work for you, certain things do not. But that's the beauty of yoga, it's an exploration. So have fun exploring, see what you notice, and let me know if you have any questions. All right, have a great day.